Guys, it's Zolva here, and today I'll be sharing with you an analysis of a core piece of Creatures of Sonaria lore that has been shared privately with both myself and other YouTubers. This piece in question is a beautiful tapestry illustrated by the developer Nort, and it holds a lot of significance in the official lore for the game. Nort has only provided us with this tapestry and a translation for the runes at the bottom. So in this video I will be talking about this tapestry and analysing what I think this piece means and sharing it with you guys. But before I start, I just want to say a little disclaimer that I have not read or watched any other YouTubers' thoughts or videos on this tapestry, and so everything said here are my own original thoughts and theories. But before I get into the video, be sure to like and subscribe to support my channel, and also leave a comment letting me know what your initial thoughts about this tapestry is before I go into my analysis. So without further ado, enjoy listening to my thoughts and theories surrounding this piece of artwork. Firstly, I will talk a little bit about the overall style of this illustration and how this is relevant to the lore surrounding this piece. This illustration reminds me of an elaborate and intricate tapestry, and so from now on I will just refer to it as a tapestry as I analyse. It looks to be old and worn, with desaturated colours and many flaws in the image. It's unclear to me how old this tapestry is meant to be, but from looking at this piece it closely resembles ancient artefacts in real life, such as a Bayeux tapestry. Okay, so for those who may not know what the Bayeux tapestry is, I'm going to give you a quick history lesson. It's basically a very long embroidered cloth that shows the events leading up to the Norman conquest of England. The Bayeux tapestry tells one of the most famous stories in British history, that of the Norman conquest of England in 1066, particularly the Battle of Hastings, which took place in October 1066. Now, you may be wondering how this history lesson is relevant to this Sonarian illustration. Well, actually, they both have their similarities, and it's kind of why I'm referring to it as a tapestry instead of just an illustration. Both the Bayeux tapestry and the Sonarian artifact tell a story of a battle. They also share a fairly worn and simplistic style with yellowing canvas and general flaws due to age. I'm unsure how old this URA tapestry is supposed to be, but I can make an educated guess when referring to the Bayeux tapestry. So I'll stick with the real historical reference. The Bayeux tapestry is almost 1,000 years old now, and it is still preserved to this day. With so many similarities in the condition, that means that this tapestry depicting the URA could be around the same age, 1,000 or so years old. I have also looked at some images of ancient Egyptian artifacts to see if it could potentially be older canonically, however the overall style and lack of preservation in the real Egyptian artifacts don't match the signs of wear on this image of URA. Another thing I want to mention is that much like the Bayeux tapestry, this illustration could only be a small section of a bigger piece, and thus it may not be telling us the entire story. I think the biggest influence on this URA illustration is the historical depictions of long dragons in Asian cultures. I'll show a couple of pieces here as they are just so pretty, and the resemblance is there, which further adds to the ancient setting. Along with the actual illustration, we were given the ancient alphabet of the old Sonarian language. After a little bit of translation and deciphering, I can now tell you that this text says the Sea Guardian. This is very important as it suggests that the URA itself is some kind of deity. Everything in this illustration points to the URA being a godlike being. Being central to the balance between light and dark, the URA has an ethereal glow around it, which is reminiscent of the glow often seen in some religious illustrations of godlike or holy figures. Throughout history, Christians have almost always illustrated Jesus and other holy figures with an angelic glow surrounding them. This symbol of light is also shown here, which is a clear sign that the URA may be some form of god, or if not, they were worshipped as a deity by whoever illustrated this in Sonarian lore. And linking back to what I said before about this tapestry possibly being a segment of a bigger picture, other developer creatures may be other guardians or gods of different elements. If the URA is the Sea Guardian, then for example, the Archelium could be the Sky Guardian, and I think the concept of the developer creatures being guardians of elements is an interesting one, and I think it would make sense in canon Sonarian lore too. Also, the existence of this ancient language also suggests that there was some form of education and established society at some point in Sonarian history. However, in the present day of Sonaria, this has since become an obsolete language, and the society which existed may have collapsed centuries ago, before the current setting of the game. I'm now going to unpick a few things surrounding the URA and how this further links to the URA being an ethereal creature maintaining the balance through war. Firstly, the URA is central to both the sun and the moon. I have a theory about why this may be the case. The sea and tides are controlled by the moon, and the moon's gravitational pull generates something called the tidal force, which controls the tides and the motion of the water. The phases of the moon also affects the tides. The URA is holding a branch which looks to be a cherry blossom tree in bloom, and plants only blossom in spring seasons, which leads me to believe that this was illustrated and set in the season of spring. And, like all of my other theories, it is far-fetched, but there is a real phenomenon called spring tides. These tides only occur when the sun, moon and earth all line up, and it causes the water to bulge and flood more than usual. And here in this illustration, the sun, the moon and the URA who is on earth are all perfectly aligned, meaning this illustration takes place during a spring tide where the water levels are at their peak. Being the guardian of the sea, the URA would potentially be at their most powerful charged by this spring tide when this event is taking place, which adds to the themes of war present. The overall vibe I get from this illustration is unrest, as the URA looks to be roaring in aggression as it physically puts itself between light and dark. The clouds surrounding the URA also show signs of battle, as if a struggle is taking place. These clouds could be unsettled dust, sea spray, fog or even ash, but from this illustration alone it is unclear which one it depicts. Regardless of what it is, to me, it is clear that some form of struggle is happening. I think this may be a struggle between the balance of elements and other elements potentially wanting more power. The URA appears to be the central holy figure fighting back to maintain the peace instead of fighting to earn more power for themselves. This is interesting, as the URA is just a neutral party fighting to maintain the natural hierarchy. Each side of the URA we have the sun and the moon, and if you've been paying attention, this links back to the tides and also the symbol of light. I think this battle is between light and darkness, or similarly, good and corruption. Sonaria may have fought against corruption, with the URA being a main part of that battle. I've already discussed the link between the moon and the cherry blossom regarding spring tides, but I also want to mention the symbolism surrounding the cherry blossom tree itself. Cherry blossoms are a symbolic flower of the spring, a time of renewal and the fleeting nature of life. This could link to the URA fighting for renewal and the maintenance of the balance. It could also link to a time of renewal where everything changed dramatically at the period of this illustration. However, I am unsure what is in the left hand of the URA. It looks to be some kind of orb, which I presume is magical or filled with energy. It could be the spirit of the sea or a powerful energy which makes the URA more powerful. Most of this illustration is bright, which could alternatively suggest that instead of the URA fighting for balance, the URA could be fighting back against the evil darkness over the lands of Sonaria. In conclusion, this illustration tells us many things. The URA is a godlike creature which radiates light and fights against some form of evil. This evil could be one of two things. Firstly, the balance between light and dark, and secondly, the banishment of an evil darkness. From the style, colours and signs of wear similar to existing historical artefacts, it is clear that this is canonically a very old illustration. The artist who illustrated it in Sonarian lore is unknown, and the exact time period is also unknown. The URA is described as a guardian of the sea, which further adds to the likelihood of the URA being a godlike figure. So, I think that's everything that I actually have to say about it. I hope it made sense, and I hope I didn't ramble in some sections. Yeah, I don't know if every point that I tried to make landed, but what do you think of this illustration? Please let me know down in the comments below what you think of my theories and whether they actually made any sense. I think I might have lost some people with it, but I knew what I meant. If you have found this analysis useful, then show your support by leaving a like and maybe even subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Well, that's all from me, so thank you so much for watching. But before this video ends, I just want to say a quick thank you to my current Ko-Fi supporters. Mistlehawk, Illyria, Evie, Tom, Raining Kyanite, Glitch0666, David, Caden, Bird Sources and Aurea of Symbolica. Thank you all so much for the support. If you would like to support my channel, I am currently raising funds for a webcam, so if you're interested in being featured at the end of my video, then head over to ko-fi.com/zolva for more information. This is completely optional, so please don't feel obligated or obliged to donate if you can't. I just appreciate you watching my videos and supporting the channel so much. This Ko-Fi is just a way to show extra support and every little helps. Well, it's almost 3 AM, I'm exhausted, so I think that's all from me, so thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, but most importantly, stay funky. Look at him.